Well, hello and welcome. I'm Bo Brusco with the Lynnwood Times, and today I'm joined by Mayor Christine Frizzell of the city of Lynnwood, and we're actually here at the Lynnwood Library. And Mayor Frizzell, when you agreed to be interviewed with us, you actually suggested coming here. Would you be willing to share with us sort of the significance about this location for you?
So this is where I had my first real job after all the babysitting and all of that. When I was 15, I applied to work at the library. And I got a job here, and the job title was I was a page. It's a little humor there, but you know, just putting the books and the materials back away. And back then, mostly we had books. Occasionally, we might have a video of some sort, but primarily books. And I love libraries. When I was young, one of my first memories is hanging out in the library and just sitting and being around books and ideas and other people's stories. Yeah. So libraries are very near and dear to my heart.
What role do you think public libraries serve in communities?
They're a gathering place, you know, not so much now with COVID, but I remember I would bring my kids to the library, and there would be story time, there would be family time, there would be a teen area where they could have their own genre of books. I think libraries are a great place in our community. They highlight ideas, they highlight stories that maybe we wouldn't think to even look at another day. We have history, we have science, we have Sorry, I'm getting a little excited here. But it's at our fingertips, and it doesn't cost us anything. It just doesn't cost anything, and if we could take advantage of that in our life, I think we'd all be better off for it.
So given your history with libraries and your affinity for books, Mayor Frizzell, what is your favorite book?
My favorite book these days, because of course, as with everything else, it changes, is actually a book called What Do You Do with an Idea? And I looked on the shelf before we started and I couldn't find that exact book, but this is a book written by the same author. And the whole concept behind his books, he's got 3 or 4 of these, is to take a nugget of something that's in your head, and what do you do with that? How do you grow it? How do you make it bigger and better? We can come up with what we think is an idea, and we can hide it. We can stuff it away. We can put it under the bed, throw it in a closet because we think it's not good enough. But if you take that idea and you nurture it and you feed it and you bring it out for a walk, I'm using the author's words here, not necessarily my own, but then you get comfortable with that idea. And then in a vulnerable time, you share that idea. Then it becomes something, and you're invested in it. And if you could see my face right now, I'm just beaming from ear to ear with the idea of what you can do with an idea. And I love how this author uses his words and the illustrations to really impact us. And I do remember I gave What Do You Do with an Idea to our Mayor, Nicholas Smith. Oh. And she loved it as well. In fact, I found 2 in her office when I was sorting through some things this week. And she actually took that book and read it during one of her director's meetings. It's powerful stuff. Yeah. And this library is full of powerful, powerful books, whether it's Little House on the Prairie books or The Hobbit, like you were talking about. It expands our minds.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, not to change topics a little too quickly, but you did just win an election, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Would you be willing to share with us what it felt like on election night when you realized that the majority of Lynnwood voters had chosen you to be the next mayor?
It felt exciting. Both of my adult daughters were there with me. So of course it was exciting to see that everything that I'd put such effort into for the last 1.5 years had come to a positive fruition. But the next thing was humility and just a thankfulness that I messaged many wonderful things about Lynnwood, and people caught that vision, and now they've chosen me to lead that vision. And it's very humbling to have people, and I've knocked on the doors of 6,000 voters in the last year, and to have those voters say, yeah, I choose you, extremely humbling.
Well, and speaking of your vision, what can Lynnwood residents look forward to in your first year as mayor?
So Mayor Nicholas Smith, who was our mayor for 8 years, left our city in a very good spot as far as, you know, the light rail and bringing diversity, equity, and inclusion into the spotlight, into combining our fire department with Fire District 1, and to continue on with those processes and programs is going to be primary importance. But the other thing that I want to bring is highlighting on housing. I've been involved with housing issues since 1995, understanding the need, understanding all sides of the issue, and with any issue, there's more than two sides. I'm 40 years an accountant, and so the numbers matter to me. We're going into a budget year. We're going to be looking at numbers. We're going to make sure that the numbers make sense for what the citizens want, for what the community says is important to them. And along with those numbers, we call it budgeting for outcomes in the city. And I'm really looking forward to making that go forward. I love small businesses. I love some of the big businesses, but especially small businesses, because the people who own and operate small businesses, they give of everything. It's their hope, it's their desire, it's their dream, it's a way to connect with their community. And I want to make sure that we are serving businesses in a positive way. Light rail is going and going and going, and I'm excited to be a part of that process as well. But I really have a heart for housing and for small businesses and for making sure that we're a welcoming city for all who choose to live, work, and play here.
Wonderful. Well, so last question for you, it's a bit lighter. Would you be willing to share with us one of your New Year's resolutions?
Sure. Every year I choose a new word that becomes foundational to me. And I've really been looking forward to this year because I happened upon this word a couple of months ago, and the word is hope. I think especially in the last 2 years with COVID and with diversity issues and policing issues and more issues and more issues, education, if all we do is listen to the sound bites, if all we do is read the headlines, it can be very depressing. We need to realize that there is hope, that no matter what we choose today to do, we can do it out of hope or we can do it out of defeat. And I want to make sure that every day I'm looking towards the hopeful side.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel like the collective spirit of humanity has been challenged, I suppose, during these darker, trying times with COVID. And so I definitely think tapping into the hopeful spirit of resolve in general humanity is going to be really powerful in this coming year. Yeah.
And just to take a little bit further step with that is creating hope in other people, coming alongside other people that are having a tough time, volunteering our time, our talent, our resources to lift people up. I talked to people in the school district this last week about students and how they have been feeling during all of COVID and isolation, and you know, school's hard enough with all of the social interaction and with all the education and the grading and whatnot. But you know, if we could do something for our kids and give them hope, I think that we would be better off as a society for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here today with the Lynnwood Times, Mayor Frizzell, and I'm looking forward to 2022.
Me too.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.